Hey, this is Five of Clubs, and welcome to the final episode of our Townsfolk Tussle playthrough on Simpleton Solos, the series in which a Simpleton plays one of his favorite board games. Last time around, the town phase was abnormally perilous. Yancey Plover got buried under the crumbling remnants of a ramshackle barn, Norman Fishboy's fatigue caught up with him and gave him sore eyes, and Quintus Binch developed a case of trauma jitters after his demise against Umbrello. Whilst everyone else reeled from the aftermath of Umbrello's rage, Granny Melba was treated with pampered gloves, trading in her cane at the kindly clerk to the discount store for a stabby-jabby knife. Admittedly, we're not quite sure what she actually plans to do with the knife, given the nature of her severe ocular impairments. The Townsfolk Posse has been through 3 tussles so far, starting out with a slap fight against Qing and Kween, then weathering the storm of Umbrello's rainy wrath, and lastly pointing Pepin Milkfrog back to his bog using his own severed arm. There were some close calls and some clutch plays, particularly from the heroic efforts of Quintus Binch, who stared down his jittery fear and coordinated the team's efforts against the foul frog. And now we're ready for the final town phase before the final showdown against the last remaining threat, Samuel Strawman. Will the Townsfolk Posse see the day through and save Eureka Springs, or will the scarecrow prove too much for the toons to handle? Let's rally the posse and find out together. Hey everybody, this is Five of Clubs, and welcome one and all to the final episode of our Townsfolk Tussle playthrough. I'm really excited. It is Friday. I'm feeling the Friday energy, and I think we are ready to take on whatever the town phase and the final fight have to offer for us. So without further ado, let us go ahead and dive right in. We are going to flip this is what we're going to do. Or actually, we're going to set it. There we go. Again, we are going to the town phase first. We're going to draw back up to 3 feats apiece. He has none. Oh, and you know what else? We need to swap around this order. Here we go. So Yancey Plover gets first dibs, then Norman, then Granny, then Quintus. So let us go ahead and begin by dealing out, starting with Yancey and then moving to Norman Fishboy and onward. Now, he's only going to get 1, it appears, or 2, I guess. He's going to get 2, potentially. Alright, and then he has completed that engineering trait. Very good, so he's going to get up to 3. There we go. This person's going to get, looks like, up to 2, and then there's going to be 3 divvied out here. So let's go ahead and plop, and we will plop like that, and we'll plop like, oh no, that would accidentally select everything. I hope you all have been having an excellent week so far. I will say my week has been particularly splendid, but I've been looking forward to this all week, so I'm glad we get to dive right in. Okay, and let us begin per the buy-in order with our friend Yancey Plover. Let's take a quick peek here. He still has caught in the back. Take damage from the ruffian when the target is farthest townsfolk. Yes, indeed. That would net him 1 point. End your turn adjacent to the ruffian, and enter every terrain feature on the landscape. Okay, so none of these are going to be able to be done before the final fight begins, and the sheriff of Eureka Springs will be decided before that battle actually begins. So none of these will change his standing of having 0 points. So there we go. Alrighty, and then we will go over to Norman the Fishboy. Like an ox, if you end the town phase with at least 5 max HP, achieve this feat. Interesting. He actually starts with 4, so it's not entirely out of the question. Oh, get out of here, sore eyes. No, our eyes are feeling refreshed now after the toxic milk. But anyway, untouchable. Finish a fight at your max HP. Okay, so a lot of HP related goals. Be the first to get knocked out in a fight. Well, okay, these two are certainly at odds with one another, that's for sure. So, but since this is the final fight, the bonus here was 2 damage to the ruffian. So I might want to actually consider that. Okay. Free damage to the ruffian is always good. Alright, we have Masochist. Take damage from a terrain piece. Gives extra moxie. We have Regenerator. Restore 1 plus HP to yourself. Currently don't have the means to do that yet, but maybe later. Tinkerer. Interact with a terrain piece. Yes, we knew what that one is all about. Alright, we have a Trap Layer. If Ruffian takes damage from a terrain piece, achieve this feat. Like the Beehive, for example, or the Dynamite, or the Bear Trap. For any of those 3 would trigger this. Budget Shopper. Obtain a piece of gear worth 4 coins or less. Well, his stealing of petty theft wants him to take an item of 5 or less, so we might be able to get that done. Oh, and let's not forget, we will be getting 2 town events because of our courier pigeon. Wealthiest townsfolk pay 8 coins any time to achieve this feat. And that, I think, is like the philanthropist where you just sort of discard that money. So, oh, you know, I just noticed these 5s and 1s that I copied and pasted everywhere are upside down. So, there we go. Alright, so we all have our stuff. Now it is town event time. He's going to start with 1. Then he's going to get 1. Then he's going to get 1. Or sorry, she's going to get 1. And Quintus is going to get 2 of them, again, because of the bonus effect on the courier pigeon that allows you to draw an additional town event when returning to town. Very cool. Okay, well, let's go ahead and begin with Yancey Plover. What town event shall we enjoy today? Strong grip. The team finds a burly fella crushed beneath a pile of rubble. Oh, dear. His lifeless hands are still gripped tightly around a weapon. Perhaps one of you can pry it from his
cold, dead fingers afore
In buying order, each townsfolk may roll plus max HP and max Moxie. Oh, wow. Okay, well, so he's going to add, looks like 8 because he does have, oh, you know what, he has -1 max HP with this equipped. So let's actually equip the Smithy's apron back again so that he has a full pool to work with. Yes, indeed. So he's going to add 8 to this roll, and the others will add their various bits. Let's start with Yancey Plover. That's a 4, 4, 8, and 12. Okay, so he got 12 right there. And the way that I'll try and track this is using the counters here, because I imagine this might get a bit mathy. Alright, so let's go ahead and type 12 in there. Yes, Yancey Plover has 12 when adding those values together. Alright, we have a maximum health value of 4 and a maximum Moxie value of 2. So he's only going to be adding 6 to whatever the roll result is. That says crit, crit, crit. So 10 plus 6. Well, funny enough, when I actually drop the die, it is a 6. I'm not sure how to... I guess I'll take what the original thing intended, because me picking it up and maybe I just accidentally nudged it the wrong way. But the game interpreted it as a crit 10. So 10 plus 6 is 16. So let's go ahead and I'll clone this. We'll change the number there. Very good. Alright, he's got 16. Granny Melba. Looks like you have 5 as your max HP. And your max Moxie is still 2 for right now. But maybe that'll change. Alright, and you got 5 plus 7 is 12 again. So you're tied with Plover. So currently right now, the winner thus far is our friend... Norman Fishboy, who is reportedly unlucky if his character card is to be believed. Alright, we have 3 Moxie and 4 health, so he's going to be adding 7 to this roll. Alright, 7 plus 3 is 10. Okay, so he had the least. But we now tracked everyone's values. Let's see what each of these does. 1 to 14, you pull and pull, but with no luck. But 15 plus, which we do have, Hot Dog, you managed to pry it away from his strong grip. Receive the first 2-handed weapon from the peddler deck. No other townsfolk may roll for this. Oh, okay, well, there it is. 2-handed weapon. The Lion Tamer, okay. Now, I'm not sure. I guess these get discarded? I'm not sure. It doesn't say, does it? Nope, sure doesn't. You know what I'll do? I'll just shuffle it and put it on top. Because it doesn't say to discard them, so I think maybe you can still potentially access them. Alright, so I got the Lion Tamer melee 2-handed shield and whip combo, and I love the whip as a ball of yarn. I spend 2 Moxie, I hit on a 4+, but remember with my accuracy of 2, that's really hitting on a 2+, however it does only 1 damage. Once per fight, prevent all damage dealt to you or an adjacent adjacent townsfolk from a ruffian action. Okay, so he could potentially get some shield stuff going on. I guess that's not terrible, you know, that's not a bad event. Okay. Unfortunately, we'd have to unequip both of these things, though, just to use that. And it doesn't do a lot of damage. I don't think I'm really going to be equipping it. I might end up selling that. We'll have to see. Alright, we have a potion maker. A crazed, top-hatted fellow speedily walks towards you. He's looking for some ingredients for his next potion. You may offer any piece of consumable gear to the potion maker. Unfortunately, I do not have any consumable gear with this character. So, apparently we're going to have to do the offer nothing. The next ruffian you face seems altered. He has +1 movement. Uh-oh. That makes me think that, that the potion maker ended up giving his stuff to the ruffian, which is terrible. Oh my, okay. Well, that's unfun. Alright, Granny Melba, calm and calculated. Considering all your friends and family are being murdered, you're managing to stay quite composed. You decide to survey the landscape ahead and prepare for the worst. Keep this card in front of you for the next fight. Add 2 to your terrain rolls. Okay, very cool. Alright, and then Quintus, we're going to do the first of your town events. Dying Gift. You find a townsfolk sliced in half. Oh boy. With the last of his strength, he hands you a piece of paper and whispers, "Please utilize this fantastic deal. You receive a buy one, get one coupon. Keep this card in front of you. The next time you purchase an item from the shop, you may take an additional item of equal or lesser value for free, then discard this card." Oh boy. Quintus is going to have market dominance here. Already he's going to be stealing something, and then he already has 12 to work with. But now that 12 could potentially be up to 24 of worth of buying power in its own right. So that's fascinating. All right, Dying Gift. Thank you, friend. We will hope to utilize it. Well, oh, but also Impending Doom. Well, I guess I would feel that after seeing our friend sliced in half there. You have a sinking feeling in the pit of your stomach. Reality hits you like a ton of bricks. You're a lover, not a fighter. Yeah, I don't know about that. Okay. How are you supposed to survive this pandemonium? Within the walls of Eureka Springs crumbling in on you, you sense the worst is yet to come. Keep this card in front of you for the remainder of the game. Whenever you whiff, roll a natural 1 when attacking. Put a counter on this card. When the second counter is placed on this card, your turn ends and the ruffian immediately plays 2 actions. Discard this card once this occurs. Oh boy. Well, the final boss is apparently going to be putting up quite a struggle against us. But I guess it's a good thing we have that Dying Gift then to offset that. Okay, so we have resolved our town events. Unfortunately, we did get a few, or at least one that was not so good. But the good news is it's time to buy some gear. And I'm going to go ahead, like always, and look through the cards that we have here. I'm going to pick some ones, and then I'm going to come back and explain which ones I picked and why. Alrighty, everyone, we are about ready to review what I have purchased. I actually was able to squeeze every little bit of optimization as I could out of this, even without using the Dying Gift in this case, unfortunately. But that is A-okay. But in any case, let's go ahead and review what we have bought for our friends. I went ahead and acquired a Belt O' Knives, which is leg gear, +1 Moxie. So let's go ahead and add that. And then, if any townsfolk lands a critical hit, you deal a damage to the ruffian. This combos really well with the Breezy Cape. If any player gets a critical hit, you may restore a health point. So I'm going to be taking health, or recovering health, and dealing free damage whenever people do crits. And of course, I retain my original loadout over here. Very good. Moving on to Granny Melba. You might be wondering what's going on over here. I've switched her to a melee weapon. That seems bizarre. Why would I do that? She's terrible with melee. Because my favorite item in the entire game happened to come out. The Extendo Pole, which is a melee one-handed unique item. When equipped, your other weapons have +5 range. So right now, normally I would have to attack adjacent with the Jab and Dagger. But this time around, I get to attack from +5 range. So I get to attack from 5 spaces away, just like the Rudy Tutor. In fact, if I had the Rudy Tutor right up here, I'd be able to attack at 10 range with the Rudy Tutor, which is insane. But the Jab and Dagger, the reason I picked it, is this is that excellent weapon. One, it hits on a great accuracy value, so basically as long as I'm within my 5 here, I hit on anything above a 1, which is 9 faces out of a 10-sided die. And this weapon may attack up to 3 times per turn, 1 Moxie apiece, so I'll be able to use it twice per turn, which is fantastic. I wish I might be able to get this to happen, the Masochist thing, try and take damage from a terrain piece. If there's, you know, I don't know, like a beehive or something, I could park her next to it, take a damage, get that extra Moxie, and then I'll be dealing, or getting 3 attacks out of this every turn, which would be very, very helpful. Alright, Quintus Binch, I sold some of his gear so as to be able to actually acquire the wealthiest townsfolk trait, and I ended up stealing the soda pop here. With getting the budget shopper trait. The soda pop allows me to discard this card to take an additional turn after this one. So he gets to take 2 turns in a row, which is pretty cool. And, of course, I ended up actually acquiring this as well from my money that I got and the stuff that I sold. This is a special gear, meaning it doesn't take up one of my slots. Changing gear costs you a moxie. So I'm going to start with the milk-soaked limb to see if we can enjoy its range 3, and on a critical hit, Ruffian loses a movement, which critical hits, as you may recall, help our friend Norman Fishboy. So we're going to hope that that's the case, and it has potential to do... it's, a 4+ accuracy. I already have a 0 here. Oh, and of course, with her, we did end up having to disequip the Maraca, which is going to make sure that her accuracy is at -2 instead of the -1 that it was before. Okay, and these, of course, are the other weapons that he had. He just doesn't have them equipped right now. All right, and then we are going over to Yancey Plover, who we bought a $4 old belt, melee one-handed whip. You see it looks kind of little worse for wear there, but it only costs 1 moxie, hits on a 3+, does 1 damage. However, if you miss with the weapon, you take a damage. So that's the only downside. But luckily, I also bought Lemonade, accessory consumable. Consume. Discard Lemonade and restore 3 HP to yourself or an adjacent townsfolk. I figure we're basically going to be the tank for this battle anyway, so it kind of makes sense to have a heal there, and this just has better hit stats than Old Smacky and costs less moxie to use it as well. So that's why I went for those things. In any case, that is going to do it, my friends. We are now fully kitted up, and now it is time to set ourselves up for the Final Showdown. So it's a little bit different. So let's go ahead and click set up the Strawman there. There you go. Boom. There it is. Perfect. So here is Samuel Strawman. He is impaling some poor townsfolk there, and he's... I love his extended pinky while he's holding the shears menacingly as well. Excellent little touch there. So there he is. He's worked the fields of Eureka Springs for years, acting as chief scarecrow, maintaining the landscape. But as you can kind of tell here, it looks like people have been littering, and it turns out that the crows are not the enemies. It's these littering townsfolk who are really ruining things for him. So he's decided to change tactics, and he now wants to attack the townsfolk, and he's kind of made friends with the crow. So, final fight. Samuel Strawman is all that's left. Flip this over for the final fight rules. So now we get to see this here, and so these FF things, no, not Final Fantasy, but indeed Final Fight. So here it is, Final Fight, the Sacrificial Fields. With the other ruffians defeated, the team works their way towards Strawman's farm. They've been hearing screams from that direction all day, but chalked it up to Samuel yelling at locals for littering. The team arrives to find Strawman with 3 townsfolk kebabbed onto his pole. He stares silently at the group and grins. You're on the Strawman's turf now. Set up step 1. Place 1 wheat field on the board per townsfolk, and that appears to be a terrain feature. So let's go ahead and dig in the bag, see if we can find it. Oh, there's a wheat field. Oh, that actually is just a stack of 5. All right. Perfect. Okay, so we have our wheat fields. What do we do with them? Yes, indeed. Place 1 on the board per townsfolk. Well, there's going to be 4 townsfolk, so I guess we'll do... I guess we have to go 1, 2, 3, and 4 is how it's going to break down. So we're going to put 1 wheat field right there. We're going to put 1 wheat field up here in the corner. We're going to put a wheat field down here. There we go. And we're going to put a wheat field way up here. So they're pretty spread out. Ah, but look at that. We got the rickety farm here. Hopefully the farmer will be willing to lend us his shotgun once again. We'll have to see. All right, 2, appoint a new sheriff. The newly appointed sheriff receives the sheriff's lighter unique gear. Okay, so now the way that appointing sheriffs work is you look at all the goals that you've completed and you tally up the points of it. So he has 0. He's probably not going to be the new sheriff. We have, let's see, 4 points here for Quintus. We have 1 point here for Melba. And we have 2 points here for Norman Fishboy. So it looks like our friend Quintus, since he ended up being the wealthiest townsfolk. Yeah, well, you know, that's funny. He ended up being the wealthiest townsfolk, so to speak, considering that right out the gate, you know, that guy tried to give us a loan, the loan shark. And, yeah, we sure showed we did not need his help this round, did we? Excellent. So, given that he has 4 points, he is the new sheriff. And basically all that means is he gets a special sheriff gear. So, let's see if it's in here. Sheriff's lighter. There it is. Okay. Aha, it's an accessory. Okay, let's bring it down here. Alright, while it's equipped, he has +1 moxie, +3 to burn it down rolls.
I'm not afraid of anything. Except a lighted match.
Burn it down rolls. What are those? Not really sure yet. I guess we'll equip it, and we'll trade in the soda pop if we feel like we need it later. Alright, so we're going to increase his moxie to 4. Too bad he only is able to attack for 2 there. That's a shame. But at least switching out my gear cost me 1 moxie now, so I guess it's a good thing he ended up being the sheriff. Okay, so looking at these wheat fields, I guess we're probably going to need the card here. I don't know that we have it. Let's find out. No, this says town events, but is this actually terrain? Oh, some of this are town events. Whoops. Not sure why that happened. Oh, you know what? It probably sucked them up. Yep, it did. It sucked them up from our boards here. Calm and calculated. I know that goes here. Yes. Okay. So then now we need... I don't see it here. Oh, maybe it tells us what it does up here. Oh, it does. Yes. Terrain. Wheat field. Just an ominous field of wheat. Townsfolk ability. Burn it down. When an adjacent to any terrain piece, spend 2 moxie to burn it down. Roll plus the counters on terrain piece, if any. 1 to 3, you accidentally light yourself on fire. Take a damage and destroy a piece of equipped gear. Uh-oh. There's a flame, but it's too tiny. Place a counter on the terrain piece to represent your progress. And then 7 plus. Okay, so there's a flame, but it's too tiny. Place a counter on it. Okay, gotcha. So it's like, it's a little bit on fire, and the more that you do that, the higher that your roll result will eventually be, meaning that you burn it to a crisp eventually. Remove this terrain piece from the board. How to win. Defeat Samuel Strawman. Break his morale to take him down. Until all terrain pieces are removed from the board, Strawman is unable to go below 1 HP. Oh, wow. You lose if all townsfolk are knocked out, or if the new sheriff is knocked out at the start of the ruffian's turn. Special objective. Destroy the overgrown cornfield last. That's this particular terrain piece. Apparently, if we achieve the special objective, I remember this, in this game, you can sort of win, or you can really, really win. And so, as you can see here for the results, if you defeat the Strawman, you just read 21. If you also completed the special objective, read 11 instead. And these are entries in the rule book that sort of give you the conclusion of the story. And I understand if you actually successfully complete the special objectives in these final fights, you generally unlock new starting gear for your townsfolk that you get to use going forward forever. So basically, you unlock it legacy style, and after you've unlocked it once, you don't have to unlock it anymore, and you can use it going forward thereafter, which is pretty cool. Oh, and of course, naturally, if you lose, read result number 1. Okay. Okay. Well, all right. Oh, man, I think we're ready to set our people on the board. All right, so now we know that Quintus Binch is going to be, you know what, this actually makes sense. He's got his, he's got his cigarettes here. Of course, he needs a lighter to actually use them, and he would do something like that, wouldn't he? So let's see where we can start him out, where he's in range of a bunch of terrain. I think right here is not a bad spot for him, because he's adjacent to this. He can go down to the foul outhouse, rickety farm, and he can just start making his way around town here. Yes. The good news is that while Granny Melba does not have a lighter, she gets +2 to terrain rolls. So basically, instead of having to roll the 7 plus, here we go, she actually only has to roll a 5 plus, which is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 6 out of 10 chance. Not bad. Not bad at all. All right, Granny, where are we going to put you? Let's see. How about here? That's a good... Oh, sorry. You're actually right here, according to the diagram. Which puts you at a nice range 5 if you want to tickle him with the jab and dagger. Very good. Now let's actually face our friend here. Yes, and here is his miniature. He's got quite an expression on him. And I love also that they gave some texture to the stuff under them instead of just being a white platform that they stand on. Just a little touch, but I think it's an appreciated one. Okay, moving, or actually, you know what? We're going to move her right here. Yep, that's what we're going to do. And we are going to have Yancey Plover right here. Oh, I see a barrel over there. And we are going to put Norman Fishboy down here, because, of course, he does have plenty of range. Yes. Okay. Now, let's just go ahead and review what's on the train. We already talked about the wheat fields. Basically, they just sit there to give more terrain for us to have to burn down before we can finally actually defeat our friend over here. There's a Heidi haystack right next to the barn. It's a feature, meaning we could go inside of it, and you can see some eyes sticking out there. If you spend 1 mox, you try to hide. You roll 1 to 4, it's no good. You can't seem to blend in. On a 5+, you hide successfully, and basically you can, you're off the board, so the enemy can't target you for a while. We remember the rickety farm. We remember loving the rickety farm, or at least I certainly did. You know, loading that shotgun, super good. We have a wooden fence, 2 wooden fences, as it were, and of course, we already know what they do. Now, funny enough, the wooden fence here, as you can see, remove it from the board. So, you know, I don't think we have to burn the wooden fences, because this just says all terrain pieces are removed from the board. That doesn't mean we have to do burn it down actions to actually get rid of those. So that might actually be easier. Oh, well, sorry about that, friends. That actually is probably going to be a little bit easier than the roll, because we have to get 7+ on the burn it down action, whereas we only have to get a 4+ on the wooden fence to actually get rid of it. So that's nice. We have a dangerous ditch right here. As you can see, there's a treasure chest in there, but there's also a skeleton, broken bottles, and some sludge-looking stuff. Not so good. It is a feature. It costs 2 movement to enter any dangerous ditch square. Does not affect ruffians' movement via gear or abilities. Very cool. 1 moxie. Scavenge the ditch. Roll. So if while you're in the ditch, you can spend a moxie. If you roll 1 to 7, it looks like terrible things happen. On 8+, you might find something good. Okay, we have the overgrown cornfield, which, if we want to get the special ending, we have to destroy last, as we recall. It's a feature, meaning we can walk in it. I love the little faces on the corns here. If a townsfolk begins their turn inside the overgrown cornfield, they must roll. On a 1 to 3, it takes forever to find your way out of the blasted corn. Place yourself adjacent to the overgrown cornfield and skip your turn. 4 to 9, you see a way out of the corn stalks, and on the 10+, you apparently find something inside of the cornfield that was lost. Big barrel, we remember that. You can take a nice swig of it, increasing all your stats and restoring a health point. And a foul outhouse, which we have not seen, but it doesn't look good. You may attack the foul outhouse to deal 2 damage to all characters within 2 squares of it. You must still make an accuracy roll when attacking the foul outhouse. Okay, so for instance, Granny Melba could shoot it with her gun, and it would hurt everyone within 2. So if we ended up getting him there, or if we put Granny Melba here and utilize it, we would be able to trigger that to take the damage, yep, from the trained piece, getting us our 3rd moxie and allowing us to attack thereafter. So we might consider that. I don't know. We'll have to think about it. All right, let's shuffle, and of course, let's take a look at the stats here. Of course, he has 18 health, and he actually has 8 movement, and we recall that because of the fact that he got an extra movement from the potion thing that we failed. So that is the way that it is. And otherwise, the battle plays out the same. He's going to be playing his cards, he's going to be doing his stuff, and it's going to be real pain. And of course, he gets the first turn. So let us draw our card, and let's see what he's up to. Scarecrowed. Strawman grabs a pole from the dirt and shoves it down the back of your shirt. Uh-oh. Target closest townsfolk. Okay. The closest townsfolk right now is going to be Yancey Plover. Alright, move toward the target. If Strawman reaches them, trigger the after effect. Okay, he is going to reach him. Alright, which means the after effect is coming in. Strawman hoist the target onto a pole. Better brush up on your hopping skills.
You see, it's very tedious being stuck up here all day long with a pole up your back.
Keep this card in front of your target. Your melee weapons have +2 range. You can no longer move using movement or gear abilities. Instead, once per turn, you may move 3 squares in a straight line, unaffected by terrain, movement, or penalties. Oh, movement penalties. Okay. You may also move through obstacles and the ruffian, but you cannot end your turn on one. Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. I'll go ahead and put that in front of me. And it didn't look like there was a way to get rid of it. Nope. Sure isn't. But at least our whip became a ranged weapon. Oh, boy. Well, that is... I have not seen that card before. That's pretty interesting. Alright, so he's been scarecrowed. Very interesting. Alright, and the first order of business is going to be Quintus Binch, who I think is going to move up 1. And he's actually going to attack at range 3 because he's holding the milk-soaked limb, which has a range of 3. Spending 2 moxie, but leaving me with 2 more. Here we go. Oh, wow! Starting off with a crit. And, oh, excellent, excellent. And we remember, crits are very, very, very good. So, right, on the critical hit with this weapon, the ruffian loses a movement. So start with that. Then, over here, any player that gets a critical, if any player gets a critical hit, you may restore an HP. He's already fine. But if any townsfolk lands a critical hit, you may deal a free damage to the ruffian. My goodness. So we're doing 2 damage here, 1 over there. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, what a hit. Oh, I like the milk-soaked limb so far. That is great. Okay. Let's see what else. Oh, you know what? We have to roll on the critical hit chart to see what other bonus occurs. 8. A brilliant blow. Your attack deals +1 damage. Oh my gosh.
Now that's a lot of damage!
What a fantastic start. Bam. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. We brought him down from 18 health to 14. That is fantastic. The impending doom, you should just be able to discard that now. I think we're going to be okay, Quintus. All right, so we have moved 1 space. Let's go ahead. We have 2 moxie remaining. Let's see if we can't get rid of this wooden fence, shall we? So let's go ahead and spend a moxie to interact with it. That's a 7. And you know what? Let's break it down to remove it from the board. There we go. All right, and I still have some movement. You know what I'll do? I'll go 1, 2... Oh. Maybe I'll go down and mess with that. Nah, I want to leave it open for her if she wants it. 1, 2, 3, 4. He has a bunch of movement. I've used 5, but he actually has 9 this time around. And you know what? Actually, I'm trying to remember. Let me make sure everyone has their +1 movement as a result of that. Yep, so he has +2 movement. She has +2 movement. Yep. He has 2 movement. Then this movement. Oh, and then a movement from the trait that he got here. 2 traits. He actually did 2. Yep, +1 movement, +1 movement. That's it. Haha. Nearly forgot. All right, and then how much extra movement do you have? I think just the 1. Oh, but I guess just the 1. But, of course, we have to remember your movement is weird anyway. Okay, right. So I'm right adjacent to this. The only problem is I cannot burn it yet. So since I moved 5, maybe I'll just go 6, 7, 8, 9. Or 6, 7, 8, 9. There we go. So I'll be over here so I can start messing with all this stuff, and if I'm feeling really fancy, maybe go right there, perhaps. But for right now, I think that so far this turn is starting out really well for us. So good job, Quintus. Very good job. Granny Melba. All right, she's a little away from him, but she has 6 movement here. So let's go 1, 2, and now she's at range 5. And she is able to use her extended pole that is holding on to a jab and dagger and let us attack. That's an 8. That's certainly going to hit because, as we remember, because of her far-sighted ability, anything that is above a 1 is going to hit. So she's going to deal 1 damage there. And she's going to use her second moxie to attack with that jab and dagger again. That's a 2, but even a 2 is going to hit in this case. So very good. Bam. Unfortunately, it's going to trigger a trap. Snip, snip. Strawman cuts away at your defenses. Target townsfolk with the most equipped gear. Looks like Norman, Fishboy, and Yancey are sort of tied for that right now. So I guess we'll do a roll off. This die will be for Norman, and this one will be for Yancey, and I will try to get it right this time. Okay, so this is lower, meaning Norman and Fishboy will be hit. Yes. So, all right, Norman, Fishboy. Norman, Fishboy. All right, move towards the target. If Strawman reaches them, deal a damage. Okay, so he's going to turn. He's going to move on down. He still has 7 movement anyway, so of course he's going to reach me, and that's going to give me 1 damage. Darn, too bad we couldn't have suffered that damage before that crit came through, huh, guys? Okay, right, so we did a damage to ourselves. After effect, the target rolls, okay? Let's give it a roll. That's a 9. I hope that's not bad. The target narrowly avoids getting shredded by Strawman's snippers. Oh, good. Oh, what would have happened otherwise? Let's see. The target's chest gear shredded to bits. The gear is discarded, or their leg gear is discarded. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm glad we didn't lose, especially not our leg gear, because I'm hoping to see a few more crits if we're lucky. But, you know, we'll have to see how that plays out. Okay, good job, Granny Melba. Is there anything else that you want to do? You're out of Moxie, but you could do some movement. Excuse me. Guess I'll go right there. All right. Excellent. Moving along to Norman Fishboy, who does not like what just happened to him. No, sorry, Bob. So he... unfortunately, there's no sources of water, so the fishy cap is not going to be of any use to us unless we were lucky and the Big Barrel's wine happened to be aqua-friendly, but I don't think it did. Oh, but you know what? I have an idea. I have been a dunce, so to speak, and I forgot. Not only does he have the +2 range with melee weapons, he has this other ability that's actually pretty good. When you hit a ruffian with any weapon, you may pull them up to 2 squares toward you. Now, it seems situational, but for instance, if I went here and pulled him adjacent to the outhouse, and then had someone attack the outhouse, our friend over here would take some damage. So, you know, that's something. And he has quite a bit of movement, I recall. 6. So let's say I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to hit this guy, pull him right here next to the outhouse, and then I'm going to try my best later to try and get this outhouse to damage him. How about that, huh? Alright, but first things first, we got a hive on a stick. We're attacking with it. Oh, I was hoping it wasn't that one. You've been so good, Norman Fishboy. And indeed, it was not. So we are going to do 2 damages right there. Bam, bam. Very good. He's already at 10 health. This is great. I mean, of course, we have to destroy all this terrain in order for that to matter. But, you know, that's pretty cool. So we're pulling him 2 spaces toward us with the strange attraction. I figured it was because, like, he's reeling them in, you know, with his... you know, like with his reliable rod or whatever. I'm not sure what they really intend with strange attraction. But maybe that is what it is. And then I'll go 5, 6. So I'm just a little bit on my ways away from him. Because I don't really want to have this attacked just yet because I'm right next to it. Meaning I would take some damage from that outhouse as well. Not good. And lastly, we have Yancey Plover. Now, Yancey, what to do with you? Oh, of course, you're scarecrowed right now, and you can only move in straight lines in increments of 3. Although you do have extra range. Maybe what I'll do is I'll actually just try to break this wood fence. Whoops. Okay, well, in any case, I'm going to try and break this wood fence first and foremost. That's a 2. That's not going to do it. I'm going to try again. That is a 5, and we need a 4+ to break the fence, so that's going to do it. Bam, get out of here, fence. And I get to move 3. 1, 2, 3. And I have 2 action points remaining, so I'm actually going to say, yoo-hoo, over here. Guy on a stick over here. Yes. Alrighty, so Yancey Plover has completed everything that he intends to do this turn because, unfortunately, even though he did move a bit closer, that range 3 is not enough to hit him with the old belt. Or with old Smacky, frankly. But, in any case, it is time for the ruffian's turn, and the ruffian will potentially be targeting our friend. Menacing Trimmers. Strawman hops in your direction, brandishing his bloody trimmers. How frightful! You said it. Target closest townsfolk, which is actually going to default to our friend Yancey Plover. So here we go. Move toward the target, then trigger the after effect. 1, 2, 3, 4. Too bad he's moved just out of range of that, but we may be able to deal with him yet. Okay. Right. After effect. Strawman snips up everything within arm's reach. Deal 2 damage to all townsfolk within 1 square of our friend. You know what? I think I'm going to use the Smithy's apron to absorb that hit. Yep, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I don't want 2 damage out the gate, my friend. No, sir. Alright, you're menacing Trimmers. We're menacing to my Smithy's apron, but not to me. Yes. Okay. Quintus Binch, who is up here, and he is ready for some pyromania to take over. He has movement of 9. Let's go ahead and begin by trying to roast this. 5 plus 3 to burn it down rolls means 8. And we need a 7+ to burn it to a crisp. Remove this terrain from the board. Excellent. There we go. So we were able to roast that. Even though we were in it, we were unburned. Maybe Quintus is actually more fluent with lighters than I gave him credit. Then let's move 1, 2, 3, 4. There we are. And let us try to burn it down as well for another 2, because he has 4 moxie here. Let's see. That's another 5, which 5 plus 4 is 9. Excellent. So we got this wheat field down. That is 2 terrain pieces down. And then let's use our other movement. 6, 7, 8, 9. I think I may have one more. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, I do. So now I'm adjacent to this, so I may want to take a swig before I burn the barrel. Indeed. But that shall have to take place on a future turn. Moving on to Granny Melba. Granny, no more reloading anymore. Nope. Not anymore. She's going to move down 1. She's at range 5 from our friend, and she is going to attack. Alright, that's a 9. That's going to do some damage. Burp. And she's going to do it again, because that jab and dagger lets us do it up to 3 times. And it's 3, but of course, that is still a hit. And additionally... Now, I suppose I will just move right here to be out of range 2 of this foul outhouse. Yep, that's what I'll do. And I will not bother... Actually, no, I won't. Okay, yep, I'm going to leave her right there. Then we're moving on to Norman, the Fishboy, who is a little ways away. But we might want to bring our friend over to us again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So maybe we'll pull our friend back over here again, if we can. And then I'll move away for one more. That's an 8. That's going to do it. Oh, it's going to trigger another trap, though. That's no good. Mocking Crows. Crows torment your group relentlessly. Target none. Move toward the closest townsfolk, then trigger the after effect. Okay, he's already at the closest townsfolk. Crows hurl insults at your group. It's impossible not to get flustered. All townsfolk must discard 1 unaccomplished feat of metal if possible. Each townsfolk takes damage equal to the point value of the discarded feat. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Well, so that he only has 1 that he can discard here, and that's 1 point. There we go. Oh, I've definitely achieved this. End your turn adjacent to the ruffian. Yeah, definitely have done that. And I'll do 1 damage to the ruffian for that. There we go. Alright, so I can't really do that one. That's going to hurt me a lot. Let's do this one. There we go. So we're going to get rid of this. It doesn't matter that I'm putting them all in 1 stack, because at this point, we're at the point where we're not really counting those anyway. Okay, moving right along. Interact with the terrain piece. She has not interacted with the terrain piece yet. Restore 1 plus HP to yourself. Take damage from a terrain piece. I think this is the one I'll get rid of. Yep, because I really don't need accuracy anyway. So that's going to be 1 damage right there. Now you have to get rid of one of these. Oh, I could get... Oh, no, don't want to get rid of that. If you end the town phase at least 5 max HP, do this. Be the first to get knocked out in the fight. Okay. Well, I may end up wanting to do this for the 2 damage to the ruffian, but we're actually tearing through the ruffian pretty good. So let's go ahead and do that. And come on, crits. Come on, crits. Heal me, please. Need some crits. And let's, of course, pull our friend using our strange attraction and using our last movement. I'll go up for 1. Excellent. Okay. And the last person to go in the beating order is Yancey Plover, who is actually in range to do a melee attack without even moving. Yep, I think... You know what I'll do first? I'm going to trade out the Smithy's Apron for the Coward's Cloak, because we've already made use of the Smithy's Apron ability. Now, it's at -1 max HP. That means our max HP is 3 instead of 4, which isn't so bad anyway. And now I have access to that healing ability. So, that's 2 of my Moxie down. I still have 1 Moxie here. Let's go ahead and utilize that weapon. That's a 4. Whoa, it was close to a miss. But we did not miss. Unfortunately, that is going to trigger yet another trap, though, which is no fun. Corn padding. Strawman attempts to reinforce his body. Target overgrown cornfield terrain piece. If overgrown cornfield is not on the board, play the next card of the action deck. Well, it still is, as we remember. Move completely into target. If Strawman enters target even partially, trigger the after effect. Well, it says move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is an obstacle, so he can't just move straight through it. I don't think he can get there. I think he's going to push our friends out of the way, trying to. Because he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He would have had 8 because of that potion, but we started out with a milk-soaked limb crit. So he does not. Wow. Okay, so he actually doesn't make it there. It's not like the other abilities. Sometimes other abilities in the game will place them in it or place them adjacent to it, but this specifically says move completely into target. I think really what it means is if possible. Yeah, okay. After effects, Strawman violently stuffs his body with ears of corn. He restores 2 HP. Any townsfolk inside the overgrown cornfield take 2 damage. Well, he didn't even make it in there, so he's not going to heal, and he's not going to hurt anyone. So, joke's on you, bud. Joke is on you. All right, now you have 3 movement in a straight line if you want to do it. I could just move right there, I guess. Maybe he'll try to set fire to the wheat field, perhaps. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see about that. But in any case, it is now, after Yancey Plover's concluded his turn, it's Samuel Strawman. Looks like he's been playing a lot of cards lately, I know. Crow Throw. Strawman utilizes everything at his disposal to rid you from his land. Target the farthest townsfolk. That's actually going to be Quintus. If the target is within 9 squares... Oh, certainly not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10... Yeah, okay. Certainly not. Strawman chucks a dead crow at them, dealing 1 damage. Move Strawman toward the farthest townsfolk and reshuffle the action deck. So, the last 2 cards that we've had so far have actually been pretty kind to us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Darn, he's just outside of the range of that foul outhouse, isn't he? But, hey, at least we didn't get pummeled, you know, by a thrown crow here. That, in my mind, for whatever reason, there's this scene from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure where there's I don't actually remember the context, but essentially there's this enemy that is at a range that's a real threat, and the way that the Jotaro decides to deal with it is like he takes this pug and his stand, like chucks it at a high speed across the desert to slam the guy because he knew he couldn't get there in time before he was in trouble. And I was like, oh, that's an interesting way to go about dealing with that solution. But when he said the crow throw, that's the clip that played in my mind. Oh, I am a deluded individual, aren't I? Yes. All right, moving along, we have Quintus Binch, who is right next to a big barrel, and I think he's going to want to take a swig. I mean, yes, it's true. Last time he took a swig from the big barrel, he ended up dying. But I have hope this time, and actually he rolled an 8, which is good, because on a 5+, it's full of wine, he takes a swig and feels invigorated. Restore an HP and increase your other stats by 1. All right, bam. He's at 10 whopping movement, my friends. That is amazing. And at 1 accuracy, which means the milk-soaked limb now hits on a 3+. Very good. Okay, and I still have plenty of Moxie still. So let's go ahead. I have 4. Let's go ahead and try to burn this barrel now that we've used it anyway. That 7? Yep, that's going to do it, even without the lighter. So there we go. Roasted. And then let's move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 right here and try to burn this with our remaining 2 Moxie. 4 plus 3 due to the sheriff's lighter is 7, and on a 7+, we successfully roast the terrain we're trying to torch. So there we go. Excellent. Excellent. So we have now cleared almost half of the board here. So we just have 1/2 left, and we have to finish off this boss. I'm feeling that our chances are pretty good. I don't believe he's rolled any 1s for attack. Well, he hasn't attacked in a while, so that's good. But in any case, moving right along, we have Granny Melba here, who is within range 5, actually, right now. So she could use the jab and dagger to tickle some more health out of him, or she could go up to the rickety farm and try and get a benefit there. I think that's what she's going to do this time around. 1, 2, 3, 4. And she gets +2 to terrain rolls because she is calm and calculated. Let's see what she's got. That's a 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. What happens at a 3 at the rickety farm? The owner refuses to answer the door. Okay, but it doesn't say that we can that we have to stop banging on the door. In fact, these other ones specify when that happens. So you know what? She's going to try again. It's one Moxie. She might as well. Oh, yes. Woo! Ooh, that crit. Now, given that it was on a terrain, that means it's not a critical hit, so it doesn't trigger all this lovely stuff. But, you know, it's nice. It's nice that it happened, because we know what happens. That means the owner's happy to oblige. He pumps his shotgun, aims at the ruffian, and 3 damage is coming toward him. Bam, bam, bam. Alright, so we now have reduced the ruffian to 1 health. Unfortunately, he will not be dead until such a time as we get rid of all the terrain on this board. So, that's the next order of business. Yes, it is. And Granny Melba technically still has maybe 1 or 2 movement, but I'm going to leave her right there. That's fine. Alright, moving right along, it's Norman Fishboy's turn. There's no sense in attacking our friend here. He could try to set fire to something, but he actually is the person with the lowest amount of health right now. So, knowing that he could potentially burn himself with these fire actions, I don't think he's going to do that. No, sir. I think he's going to 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I guess that's what we'll do. I don't want to move in there because bad stuff happens in there, so I'm just going to wait right here. All right, Norman Fishboy, you've contributed there, and Yancey Plover can move his happy 3 spaces, as you know, and he can attack if he is so inclined. I don't see a reason for him to, though, but I guess we'll go 1, 2, 3, and we will get the Strawman to be interested in us again by saying, "Nana nana boo boo, I'm a better Strawman than you," or something of that nature. All right, so everyone has gone, and it is now Samuel Strawman's turn. Hopping poke. Strawman attacks with his sharpened stick. Target the closest townsfolk, which is going to be, actually, it would be been him anyway. Target closest townsfolk. Move toward target. If he reaches them, deal a damage. Okay, as we know, as happens. So let's take the damage, because again, we do still have that lemonade for a nice heal, and we have the coward's cloak. Okay, so we will try to utilize that on a subsequent turn, since Samuel Strawman, I think, is going to be rather interested in our friend Yancey for the remainder of the fight due to the frantic fighter trait. If Strawman's weakness is active, the attack worsens the damage to Strawman's pole. He loses a movement. Well, unfortunately, we do not have his weakness activated yet. So we'll be looking forward to accomplishing that in such a time as we are able to do so. All right, Quintus Binch, I think it's time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're at 6. Let's try and light this outhouse up. We have a 3 plus 3 is a 6. Now, that's the first time we've actually failed it, but we get to place a counter on the terrain piece, which means we're going to get a +1 for every counter on it. So let's go ahead and try to light this sucker up again. That's a 9. Yep, that'll do it. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove that outhouse and get that token back in its bag. Right, and let's, with the other movement, I suppose we'll just go ahead and move 2 spaces that way, so we are well on our way toward the other side of the board, where we need to continue lighting stuff up. Yes. Okay. Moving right along, it's time for Granny Melba. Yep, sure is. Granny Melba, sure. Why don't you try and torch that barn? I mean, I know that's not a very grateful thing to do after he just helped us, but indeed, that is the goal that we're trying to do. So we have 6, but remember we get +2 for our calm and calculated, meaning it's 8, which is above a 7, meaning we successfully burn and destroy the rickety farm. I know, I feel just as bad as probably many of you do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to move right there, and she's going to try and take this half of the board. He's going to take this half, and hopefully through some combination of our efforts, we will be able to torch the remainder of this stuff. It's kind of interesting that you can burn a dangerous ditch, but apparently you can. The other stuff all kind of made a bit of sense why it would be flammable, but this doesn't look very flammable, does it? Oh, well, maybe the toxic sludge in there is what's really flammable. But moving along, Norman Fishboy. Norman. Well, Norman. I mean, you know, 6 movement. 1, 2, 3. And I don't want to enter the dangerous ditch or I'm just going to hurt myself. But I'm going to try and get over here where I can try and cook the wheat field, I guess. Because even if he ends up hurting and killing himself by burning things, he ends up being a martyr, it turns out. So he can at least start the little fires to help our friends out. So that's I think, what he's going to do for the remainder of the fight. Until it's attacking time again, anyway. Alright, Yancey Plover. We have 4 Moxie. Let's spend 2 of it to back up 2 squares and heal for 1. There we are. Then let's utilize this to make sure that our Strawman tries to stay over here with us, I suppose. You know what, let's actually move 3 right there, just in case. And then we can drag him even further away from our friends who are currently torching the place. Okay, yes. Scarecrow Plover. Yes, indeed. Very good job. And that is going to do it. So Samuel Strawman gets to go. Small crows. Tiny scarecrows come running out of a nearby cornfield. Target the 2 townsfolk closest to the overgrown cornfield. Well, so the nice thing is we're going to get +1 to our max movement because of Frantic Fighter. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to protect our friends from the after effects of this, though. Yes, okay. Move completely into the overgrown cornfield. That's targeting the 2 closest townsfolk to the cornfield. So that's these 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I guess. There we go. We're in the cornfield. Yes. The targets are dragged into the overgrown cornfield by tiny scarecrows. Oh my. Place the targets inside the overgrown cornfield regardless of distance. Move into the overgrown cornfield. The targets are dragged into the overgrown cornfield. Now, when it says move in there, I think it might mean him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think it's talking about him. He's trying to move in there, and then his friends, the little small scarecrows, try to yank us in there, and I guess they do anyway, but oh, regardless of distance, we're just placed in here, so it could be there that we're placed. That's fine. Okay, well, that's worded in a way that was a bit confusing to me, but I think I got it right. Very good, but that is the conclusion of his turn, so Quintus gets to go first. Let's see, Quintus, how about we move up here. Now, let's actually, yeah, because moving in there costs 2 movement, doesn't it? Let's try and roast the cornfield here. First and foremost, that's an 8, that's going to do it. So, you know what as well, I'm just going to delete it. Then I'm going to move Quintus, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to try and roast this too. That's a 5. 5 plus 3 is 8. And goodbye, wheat field. Yes. Ah, that excellent sheriff's lighter is doing great. Okay, moving along, we got Granny Melba. She's going to spend 1, 2, 3, because again, when moving in here, it costs 2 movement, so that's 3 of her 6 movement there, but she's going to try to roast this little place too. That's a 2 plus 2 because of calm and calculated, means that's a 4, meaning we're going to get to place a counter on there, but unfortunately, we were not able to roast the place. Oh man, that's too bad. Alright, we tried. Alright, moving right along. It's going to be Norman Fishboy. Norman's going to go, you know what she could do? Let's go 1, 2, 3. Yeah, and then I'll have Norman in here. And he gets the benefit of this here. So let's go ahead and try to torch it. Norman, come on! That's an 8. Yes, Norman, you've done it. You've done it, you mad lad. You have torched an entire field there. And then let's go ahead and move a few spaces away from our friend. And last but not least, we have Yancey Plover. Yancey Plover is going to put this out. Then he is going to move 1, 2, 3 right there. And so if it targets a single townsfolk, he's going to be trying to run way after him over here. So that's going to be quite the trek. Okay, let's see what happens. Menacing Trimmers. Target the closest townsfolk. Nope, you're going to target that guy over there. Move toward the target, then trigger the after effect. Well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. He moved 7. Strawman snips up everything within arm's reach. Deal 2 damage to all townsfolk within 1 square of him. Yes. No, sir. Unfortunately not. You need to really... I know he's a scarecrow, so, you know, he's got a bit of an edge, or at least a bit of an insight into your psyche, but you really need to leave him alone, because your friends over here are about to complete their goal. Okay, starting with Quintus Binch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Look at that. 10 movement gets me right into the field of wheat. And let's see if we can roast it. That's a 5 plus 3 is an 8, meaning that it has been roasted. Then, I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to spend 1 moxie to trade for the soda pop here, I think. Yep, so I have 1 moxie left out of movement, but I'm going to drink it. I'm just going to chug the soda pop to get an additional turn, so I get a full turn. That's movement and moxie.
I'm about to end this man's whole career.
So the first order of business I'm going to do is I'm going to trade places with a townsfolk. Trade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so I'm going to trade places, I think, with Yancey here. So I'll put him there. You're at Q3 over there. Okay. Q3. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because I only have to be at range 3 to smack him. So we use 2 Moxie to use Trickster. Then we're going to use our other 2 Moxie for our subsequent Soda Pop turn to hit. Oh, yes! Yes! Quintus Binch! Dude, you're rocking it, dude. You're... Wow. Okay, so on a critical hit, a bunch of things happen. 1, that happens. 2, the ruffian's dead. And these other stuff would happen too. He would be able to heal 1, and he would do an additional damage just in case. And you know what? What would the crit hit be? A 5. It would have been a 5, which would have reduced the ruffian's movement by 1 further. Oh no! You know what I just realized? I'm stupid. I meant to save that overgrown cornfield for last. Because I very, very, very easily could have done it. Oh. Well, the good news is that means that I will not spoil the surprise that you get if you do the secret ending. So, you know, obviously I meant to do that. Yes, of course, that's exactly what happened. Ah, the blood-soaked limb. Those crits, Quintus Binch. Very good. And the impending doom did not come into play. Calm and calculated, however, came into play. Very clutch. She basically had a weaker version of the Sheriff's Lighter, which is amazing. Alrighty. So with that, our friend, and or our former friend, I guess, he used to be a friend of the townsfolk, is destroyed. He is defeated, meaning that we get to read Story Event 21. So, oh, there we go. What a scene! The townsfolk are surrounded by towering flames beating on a clearly motionless pile of hay. Samuel Strawman has been defeated. The new sheriff lights the pile of hay on fire just to be certain. The town is saved? Unfortunately, the rest of the town did not approve of your burn everything to the ground method. It will take months, maybe years, to rebuild and regrow all that corn. The next day, the town holds an emergency meeting where it is decided that your group is to be exiled. Is to be exiled from Eureka Springs forever? What? You ungrateful little... Oh man, look on the bright side. At least you won't have to deal with the famine that's sure to follow. Okay, fair enough. Your little group leaves the town together, looking forward to the journey ahead. Maybe they'll visit Sprinkle Falls. They've heard decent things. Yeah, now that we've demayored them, I figured, you know, we could go in and... So, yes, congratulations are in order. You win the game. I mean, yeah, we win, technically, but I will not say that that was a, you know, that's not a happy ending, I would say. Yikes, we got exiled from Eureka Springs. Okay, so we are no longer, which is really sad, because, you know, we just got named the town sheriff. I mean, yeah, honestly, I think the town was on its way out, given that they, you know, named this child, of all things, to be the town sheriff. You know, I mean, it's Quintus Binch, right? He blatantly and flagrantly steals. He drinks booze underage. He lighting things on fire. Clearly showed it. That's what, you know what? That's what it is. They saw, like, the fiery, murderous gaze in Quintus Binch's eyes when he was lighting everything on fire, and the glee that he had. And then fighting, of course, with a dismembered arm as well. And I think the townsfolk had an emergency meeting and were like, okay, I think we picked like a tyrant and a monster as the sheriff. I think we need to get him out of here quickly because he could grow to be quite the sadist. So, I think in my head canon, that's what happened. Yes. Okay. Well, my friends, we finally reached the end of our Townsfolk Tussle playthrough. We laughed, we cried, we immolated our rural farmlands, and now we have a chance to reflect on our adventure and go over my final thoughts. I wanted to briefly mention a few notable points about the game before closing things out. One thing I wanted to do in the wrap-up for this series was share my boss rankings from the demo set from favorite to least favorite. However, when I say least favorite, I still consider the lowest ranked boss as being excellent, so don't confuse the ranking hierarchy with a critique against the design. With that in mind, I think my number one favorite boss in the demo set is Umbrello. I really love the water and storm mechanics he's got going on, and his terrain interactions are very well done. As I may have mentioned before, terrain in Kingdom Death Monster feels a bit more like field dressing than fleshed out cohesion with the boss sometimes. Umbrello's involvement with terrain is the prime example of top-notch scenario design where the stage complements and enriches the boss encounter. Plus, I just find him unsettling and capable of some surprising damage output. Boss number 2 is Samuel Strawman. Samuel Strawman is really interesting ruffian. I love the theme behind his character motivation and his attacks, and the final fight mechanics here regarding the widespread destruction of terrain is an engaging and unique gameplay challenge. The final fights of each of the ruffians are pretty fascinating all around, but even without the extra bells and whistles, each boss feels fun on its own. I've faced the Strawman in a non-final fight form and enjoyed that battle then as well. So he falls 1 or 2 degrees shy of Umbrello, but again that's a far cry from being bad or average. Third on the list is Pepin Milkfrog. Admittedly, his mechanics don't seem as terrain cohesive as the first two, but he's got some neat tricks up his slimy sleeves. Additionally, he tends to be a boss I approach with the most confidence, yet seemingly shamble away, surprised at how badly he beat me up. Turns out that a frog with some rotten milk can prove pretty fatal. And lastly, Qing and Kween. It's not that I like them the least per se, but rather they're the boss that I have the least experience with. I've faced the other three on various playthroughs already, so I'm more familiar with their decks and can appreciate the intricacies of their designs more clearly. I think my opinion of Qing and Kween will rise as I have more experience with them and see the nuances in their abilities, especially in the hooligan, troublemaker, or final fight settings. One thing I wanted to talk about was the sense of balance in the game. I think it's best to approach the game with the right perspective if you want to enjoy it. Sometimes the game throws curveballs at you, and then other times it gives you grand slams, but for what the game is, I think it's best that way. I can't help but feel as though a rigidly balanced game with highly controlled / luck-deprived elements would have dampened the creative playground that the cartoon theme offers here. Granted, I do think some items are exceptional in the right hands, like Granny Melba and the Extendo arm. I recall one campaign where I was able to get that into her hands at the very first town phase, and she went on to make absurd use of its capabilities. It was hilarious at the time and very cartoony, but it made the campaign a bit of a breeze thereafter. I saw a suggestion that the peddler items of that sort of strength should be broken into a tier system, precluding them from spawning into the game until you've defeated at least 1 or 2 ruffians. And while that suggestion has merit, I remind myself that the full game will have over 150 items in it. The likelihood of that occurring is very, very low, and wildly lucky stuff happens in KDM that puts you ahead of the usual curve too, so I think it's par for the procedural course in these games. Overall, regarding the average feeling of balance across multiple campaigns, I think there's enough bite in each encounter for the enemies to be able to put up some degree of resistance, even if one team member gets a little bit ahead. I'd be interested to see if there will be any hard mode or trait style cards in future Townsfolk Tussle expansions though. Additionally, whilst creating a consistent build for each character in Townsfolk Tussle is not as easy as it is in a game with consistent crafting markets like Kingdom Death, I've grown to appreciate how this game pushes you to adapt with what you're given, and what is taken away. I suppose it could be frustrating to lose an awesome piece of gear during a town event or a ruffian fight, but I think the exchange here is more than fair. The game showers you with item options and acquisition opportunities, and given that each card in the Peddler deck is unique with no repeats, you encounter a respectable variety throughout each playthrough instead of seeing the same old stuff every time. I enjoy my structured item pathing of character progression in KDM as much as the next player, but I also appreciate the zany levels of freedom granted to players in Townsfolk Tussle's gear deck. I know that even if I lose a super weapon or super armor in battle, I'll see something just as great or greater in the next market phase or during a town event or even lying next to a pond on a picnic mat. It's different, but different in a way that I appreciate for this game. KDM's system works precisely how it should for KDM, and I likewise find this system to fit the cartoon theme just as well. Lastly, before I close things out, I wanted to give a shout out to Panic Roll, the creators of this game. Even here in this tabletop simulator mod with only 1/3 of the bosses and less than a half of the total items and town events and the like that you will find in the final game, I have a great time every time I play. This demo feels nearly like a complete game by itself, but I'm happy to know there are more bosses and items just around the corner, so great work there. But also great work on the Kickstarter overall. I've backed many Kickstarters in the past with various experiences from each, but Panic Roll's management of things has been top-notch. They are easily the most approachable, transparent, and kind set of developers I have ever seen. I read through the recent update regarding the shipping struggles that they're facing, and I think it's a testament to Panic Roll's character that the backers are requesting en masse the ability to donate and help with the unexpected shipping issues, even though Panic Roll opted to bite the bullet themselves. Seriously, top marks to this team. I know I'll be backing just about anything else they put out. In closing, I love this game. I can't say it any more simply than that. I could go on and on and on about the interesting combinations and stories I've seen through my playthroughs. My initial conclusion this video was nearly a 40-minute rambling session where I swam through various topics and points of praise.
I can't make up my mind. I haven't got a brain. Only straw.
How can you talk if you haven't got a brain?
I don't know. But some people without brains do an awful lot of talking, don't they?
But it made the video too long, and I decided to distill the meatier portions of it with respect to time and edit my conclusion through a script instead. A game that gets me into monologue mode like that is a game worth talking about, and in my opinion, this game definitely is.
You must understand, young hobbit, it takes a long time to say anything in old English, and we never say anything unless it is worth taking a long time to say.
I highly recommend that folks give it a try. The tabletop simulator demo is freely available after all. So thanks so much for watching this playthrough. We'll certainly be back for more when there's more to show. Perhaps I may even do an episode showing off one or two of my own custom ruffians. We'll see. Until next time, take care and happy gaming, everyone.